Hello and welcome to Star Trek Reliant, the only podcast right now that is currently covering the Trident system. What that means, you'll have to look back at the previous episodes, but we'll do a quick recap for you in just a moment here. First, we're going to go through our usual cast of characters, starting with Security Officer Chorog.
Yeah, this is Chorog. Whatever this Trident is, I could use a new weapon for my collection.
We've got Science Officer D.B. Wells.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see you there. I was too busy pondering my orb.
We've got another Science Officer, Grawl.
Ooh, shiny orb.
We've got Con Officer Karajin Ronnie.
Hey ho, this is Geraldine. I play Karajin Ronnie, and in case people haven't noticed, we've actually just moved to a new storytelling style. We're doing this more like an actual role-playing game than instead of trying to do episodes. This is probably going to help us out more because we don't have to rush.
Yeah, we can take our time and enjoy. See the sights, meet the aliens, cause major diplomatic incidents. We'll see how things go. We've got CMO and EXO Eli O'Connor.
That's me. I have nothing clever to say. I'm
Focusing on something quite important right now. Then we've also got our Chief Engineer Rick Tier.
I am detecting your power signatures within that orb you're pondering, so you better be careful.
The orb ponders back.
I was going to make a joke that the orb actually just contains a swarm of bees.
Hey, look, so long as that orb is not the Lochnar, we're good.
I don't know what the Lochnar is.
It's okay, go watch Heavy Metal. It's an animated movie from the 80s, and it's freaking weird.
I have it on VHS. I still haven't watched it, though.
I once rented that from the library and didn't actually watch it. It's on the list.
It's an experience. I put it up there with Rocky Horror Picture Show of not making sense, and yet...
How does it compare to the 1984 Dune?
It actually makes less sense than that.
Interesting. Okay, I do have to check this out now.
You
Anyway, though, for
Rocky
things...
Horror unless you've taken part of it live.
You haven't seen...
Yeah, I haven't had the chance.
You haven't seen Rocky Horror until you've seen it in the original Klingon.
Now I'm just imagining a Klingon in, like, fishnets and... Okay, let's move on.
Alrighty then. So for last week, the Intrepid crew of the starship Reliant beamed down to the first planet in the Trident system, an M-class world, giant of a planet, and bustling with many, 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 many species of humanoids, as well as a smattering of advanced technology, indescribable relics, and dangerous species. We also followed along with the captain and Con Officer Karajin Running, as they went on a little bit of an escape mission with the help of a tardigrade warrior named Bosho, and they've arrived at a village in the mountains of Trident called Vorti. In the meantime, though, we're going to cut straight to our main crew, as you've taken your modified long cab Argo and have started making your way towards the city of Cerrit Run that your guides, Irton and Pym, have pointed you towards. It's a relatively small fishing community by the standards of anything in Starfleet, but at the same time, for a Trident settlement, it's fairly robust. And definitely at this range, you can detect some sophisticated power signatures coming from it. The landscape around you is basically a little bit of a shrubland with small pockets of forest, as well as bits of wetland habitat as well. You can hear some strange bird life, some strange life in general, but nothing too far that seems overly aggressive or out of the ordinary for an M-class world, at least so far. So, basically, whoever's got the wheel has the wheel. I forget who we assigned to that duty. I think it was DB. Yeah,
Daniel
DB.
is at the wheel, pondering the sky as he drives.
Which may not be safe.
Okay, you're gonna have to definitely do a insight engineering roll. Oh, insight con roll. Insight con roll.
Wait, what the hell? What?
If it's not working, you have an alternate roll function.
I did slash roll.
Slash roll, and then you need to give it basically 2d20, and that's all you need to do.
Oh, okay.
Remember, it gives you little hints right above as you're typing it out.
Alright.
So you've got 2 successes there. So you're able to both ponder the sky as well as not drive the Argo straight into a swamp. You're able to keep to the small and winding road as you proceed towards the city. But first, in a large clearing, you notice what seems like a bit of a spire. Then, as you sort of get more of an angle, it turns into an arch. And the road becomes considerably more well-packed, more developed, and even paved as you approach the front of the large archway. At the bases, it seems that the stone is flowing into the metal structure, and the metal structure itself appears strangely, iridescent, despite a sort of a slat gray coloration to it.
Unaware of any of this, Urton is kind of at the back of the, Argo, just kind of hanging his legs off, just kind of.
Tim is playing a harmonica presently. It has been his one payment taken so far.
Question: did Pim know how to play the harmonica before he took it?
No. It is a rather discordant melody. It's picking up, though. Does anyone else take note of the gigantic arch you're passing but next to? Or the large arch?
Eli looks up and says, neat.
Rick will have a look at it, see the engineering of it, how it works.
I was about to say, this feels like a courtroom, and it's just everybody's like, no questions, Your Honor.
we recognized a big bit of technology. Do you want to make that a scanning roll, Rick?
Okay, what's the stats?
That is going to be an insight engineering. Also, because DB gained 2 successes on that last roll, I'll give you guys 1 momentum.
Okay.
But
Your scan reveals one thing immediately. This structure is pulling in an incredible amount of power. Like, probably more than the Reliant can generate, this structure is pulling in.
World also scans the arch, which is with his spatial phenomena observation and calibration kit helmet, or Spock helmet, to see if its designs match anything in the database.
Yeah, go ahead, actually. And given the spatial thing, I think actually you might get some extra information here.
What should I roll?
Oh, sorry.
insight science.
My bad. I didn't realize you were waiting for me to say that.
2 successes.
Yeah, you actually can tell that space-time is warping around this thing incredibly. It looks like this is probably some sort of conveyance. It likely is sort of a set portal which can open to some other arch elsewhere. The amount of power and computational skill required to do this is mind-boggling.
I'll also note that it does not match anything that the Federation has observed. So this does not appear to be Iconian technology.
That arch is pulling a lot of power from somewhere.
Yeah, and it seems to be warping time and space and making things go all wibbly according to the display on my helmet.
From the back, you just hear wibbly. I like that word.
Well, let's not go near it.
One thing you can also note is next to the gateway itself, towards the base, there is a sort of a large stone totem with a variety of different symbols. Some, basically on the left-hand side, there's a set of simple symbols. Then next to that appears to be some words. The Universal Translator has not yet picked up what they might say.
Daniel continues to drive, now pondering the arch instead of the sky.
At least you're pondering something closer.
Hey, there's a weird statue over there. Maybe we should take a look at it and investigate it, since we're supposed to be doing science investigation-y stuff.
Weird statue? Urton has climbed around now and just kind of his head and muzzle poke out from beside Crawl. What weird statue?
The one next to the arch thingy that has the squiggles on it.
Oh. Yeah, that's the schedule.
Schedule?
Yeah, it basically says how long it takes until the arch opens and creates a portal, and then on the other side it's got where it goes. Of course, it might activate at other times too, but if there's no information on it, that's probably because anybody who went through the arch at that time, didn't come back for whatever reason.
Intriguing. So you have like a mass portal, mass transit network.
Kinda. It's all part of the world tech. In fact, we've kinda had to base our calendars around it. Not much else to do around here. There's not, like, seasons and stuff.
No seasons and no day and night either?
Oh no, there's day and night. We should see night. It's really pretty.
So where does the light come from to like determine night and day if there's no sun?
I don't know. Probably some kind of weird world tech. Like, Trident is very, this continues for a while, very old. And, like, nobody really knows much about it. But, like, if you dig down a while, you start to come into, like, metal and machinery and things. Of course, that's also usually when something bad happens, so nobody does that anymore.
Intriguing.
With the question seemingly over, he pulls back and just sits down at the back of the Argo again.
M is playing on his harmonica. Dug a hole once, do. Found some monsters there, do. Tried to run away, do, but got zapped in the butt. Do.
Yeah, that is one of the things that can happen.
What are the others?
Burton just shivers and says, I don't like to think about it.
Be careful with your shovels. Don't dig too far down. If you feel something move, just start running.
Seems like some sort of self-defense mechanism.
Yeah, more like you're digging into, like, an ecosystem. It's like just a swarm of nests or your swarm of bees or something like that.
Either way, nobody's really in a hurry to try that anymore.
Well, some are.
Okay,
Don't
so
know better yet.
there are crazy people, but most of us know not to stick our nose where it's going to get zapped.
Well, the group continues along in the Argo, down the road, around which, you start to see a few more bits of civilization, a little bit of a, rest stop here, unoccupied, abandoned vehicle there. And the group kind of proceeds past a little T intersection, with one path leading up into the more hilly and mountainous country, and the path thereon just continues sloping down, winding around, and eventually making it to the seaside village of Cerrit Run without incident.
Just outside what looks to be the city limits, the group can spot what appears to be a guard hut, or welcome shack, or information kiosk, or something. At the area sits an alien who seems very crustacean-like with his legs up on the counter. Although when he notices the Argo approaching, he actually sits up straight and tries to look like he's paying attention.
Got the photo for that one? I can grab it real quick.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I didn't think of that.
Let's see. I just do this? No, I can't. All right, just a second. Him on basically the group coming towards this guard post turns to Eli and says, "Do you want to have a crack at this, or do you want to let old Pim handle the initial pleasantries?"
Crack it? What? I guess I'll give whatever a try.
All right. Well, you got customs there. Basically, go say hello.
All right.
As the Argo gets closer, the alien raises up a hand to try and get him to stop.
Daniel,
Slow down,
guess.
Daniel.
Daniel notices and slows down, then turns back to I'm blanking on his name. The one that isn't Pin.
Burton.
Ayrton.
Yeah, turns back to Yurton. I probably didn't say that right. And just asks, "Wait, are driver's licenses a thing here?"
What's a driver's license?
Take that
All
as a
right.
no.
Good to know.
The alien just kind of, moves up and just says, "Ah, travelers, Newly come to Cerrit? Welcome, welcome. I am Takik. Do you need anything?
Just want to go inside, find something to eat, trade a little.
Ah, traders, yes. Ah, well, if you go inside the town, about, we'll say, maybe it's a third of a corks, and take a left turn, you should find the trading area then. Is there anything else I can do for you?
Yes, explain what a corks is, sounds like a unit of measurement.
Yeah, that's the standard unit of measurement we have around here. Are you not from around here?
Nope.
Ah. Urton calls from the back. Newcomers. The kick goes, oh. Right,
do I know how long that is, how far that is?
Strangely, you do. A corks is about 3 kilometers, so a third of a corks is about 1 kilometer.
I guess Daniel just kind of pauses for a moment. Well, I don't know. He's not pausing. Daniel just kind of after a bit, just kind of turns to Eli and says, "It's about a kilometer, I think."
Takik now looks very surprised at this and just kind of scratches his head and says, "I don't know what a kilometer is, but I trust your judgment."
And pokes his head out of the Argo and says, Oi, the kick. There hasn't been, a group of, shall we say, prosecutors here from the Conde, are there?
There's a long-suffering sigh. Hello, Pim. No one's come looking for you, fortunately for all of us.
All right, excellent. He tosses him a cynical coin.
The mollusk-like alien kind of snaps it out of the air quickly and simply looks at the group and says, if you're traveling with Pim, keep in mind he's just as likely to get you into trouble as out of it.
Exactly. It's fun.
You newcomers very much are strange. Well, I'll be here if you need to ask any questions about the town or whatever, although some questions may be harder to answer than others, since I don't know your measurement units. And you apparently don't know ours.
Eli takes a pad and hands it to him. That's about the measurement units. There you go. You could have that.
Does this pad actually have the definition of a kilometer with the speed of light included and everything?
Yes. It's fully scientific. It's got all the explanations. And hell, if he starts walking, it'll even track how long it is.
The alien Takik just kind of looks over it for a minute and says, okay, now this is interesting. You see him, it looks like he's counting off on his fingers and doing calculations. Okay, so that's about a third of a corks. Huh.
If you tap that button there, it opens a calculator.
Now just don't ask us what a mile is.
He's busy actually putting in the definition of a corks into the computer as well, now that he's seen what a kilometer is. He just says, judging distance by the speed of light. That's quite clever. Anyway, here you go. And he passes the pad back. I've recorded what I think should work for our measurements. Those are relatively accurate units of distance anyway.
Oh no, I said you could keep this. It'll probably sync with the rest of ours, so...
Oh. Well, thank you. You're very generous newcomers. You're sure to be popular.
Very generous. Pim shakes his head.
Don't get them killed.
I mean... Look, I want them to have a good time here. Just giving away all their tech? There's got to be a limit to that.
Look, I just remember what happened when you were traveling with that Lurifon. I still have nightmares about that. He steps back to the information desk and just waves the vehicle on.
It was a small herd we let into town. Not too bad. The rancher had a good time.
Eli taps the side of the car 2 times. Keep her moving, Daniel.
Meanwhile, having heard half of a story and being reminded of it, Urton is just kind of in the back.
Daniel salutes the crustacean and I guess keeps driving.
In the back of your head, you realize that the species is called Screery, although you don't know why you know that.
Moving the vehicle through the town is relatively straightforward, as the roads here are apparently built for very large vehicles, one of which you can actually see, which basically is a large tracked carrier of some sort with basically what looks like an apartment block stacked on top of it. looks old, looks very well cared for, and yeah, it actually has some murals across the various metal structures placed upon its flat top surface. The Argo settles nicely into the little parking area, and they're basically free to proceed on foot through the rest of the town.
The group has, if they followed the directions, ended up near the trading area, which is a large square surrounded by stalls and buildings, depending on the prestige and resources of the business at hand. Burton just kind of hops off the back of the Argo and just turns around and starts kind of pulling at one of the boxes.
Cora looks up and tries to examine the murals.
They are basically a set of what appear to be hand-painted drawings of just various different species and scenes. I mean, nothing that really fills too much, basically of a multicultural picture that you can really pick up on, apart from the fact that people have seen a lot in their travels.
The mural presumably tells various stories, but you lack the context to tell where one begins and one ends.
Rick will start just going around to the various different trading spaces and look what tech's available.
Generally not a lot of high tech available in this town. It looks like a lot of the standard tech is just combustion pistols, combustion engines, the sort of stuff that you would generally assume was the 21st century Earth, or some radio units, things of that nature.
Cora looks around the market looking for anything that's cultural in nature. Texts, books, anything to explain this world and its inhabitants.
Well, you do see something that looks very strange to you. It looks like some sort of plant behind one of the counters. It's about 8 or 9 feet tall and very wide.
Cora examines the plant.
2 small tendrils emerge from either side of the rather potato-shaped entity.
Cora jumps back.
The tubule simply just go to the side of the organism, just waggle, and continue wobbling.
Cora looks at the organism and tries to imitate by waggling.
The entity waggles in the identical fashion.
Cora
Hey.
waggles his wings some more and does like an interpretive dance in an attempt to communicate.
I think that calls for a roll.
Yes.
Let's do present command or present science, whichever you prefer.
I guess present science because my command's terrible.
I mean, sometimes it's a reason to do command.
Yeah. I know that this is going to be amusing no matter what happens.
So I'm guessing since people are walking around, that means we parked at some point and I just missed it.
Yeah, I did explicitly say you guys parked.
And
Okay, my
I
bad.
had
It was
mentioned that
in
you
the
had
parking
followed the
lot.
directions and were at the trading area. I even described it.
Yeah, my bad.
So, Rawl rolled a 4 and a 1 for 3 successes on his interpretive dance.
So as you're dancing, you start to hear that your universal translator is picking up the communication. Basically, starts saying, "Welcome, welcome, friend."
From nearby, a brown-skinned alien with a bony, ridged forehead and face just kind of looks over and says, "Huh, you folks usually don't get along with friend quite so easily. You're able to understand him really well."
I am a xenobiologist.
Well, I tend to think that friend is among the most xeno-y biologies I've seen. And she just goes back to working at her stall.
You attempt to have a conversation with this potato-shaped alien.
Sure, I continue dancing. Or Gaul continues dancing.
You
Uh,
feel
you
you
get
have
on-
made a deep connection.
The universal translator says, "We are one with the movement. We are one with the dance."
And, does anyone have any other things they want to get? Sort of
Oh,
instrument-
I was going to say, Gual also asks about the various artifacts and pottery and sculptures that are on display at the booth, to both friend and friend's friend.
So, as you start speaking, your combat starts displaying a little holographic interpretation of basically a holographic translation in the body language of Friend. Friend responds in wiggles in kind and says, "These are things I have made that remind me of my travels. Each is a small little memento that I share with others."
Neat.
Friend's friend just kind of nods and says, "Yeah, he's an artistic type, and they've been lots of places." You note that as she talks, she just cycles through pronouns as if not really sure.
Friend wiggles. "I've been across the world many times indeed. By foot, by air, by sea. It has been a life, one I enjoy sharing."
Well, it's like he always says, life is just... And she does a very specific wiggle with her arms, in a wave-like motion.
Friend imitates. The translator hiccups at this gesture.
Meanwhile, in the background, just to give context for what else is happening in the scene, Urton has pulled out the crate, probably without help from Pym, and is now lugging it off towards the guy selling guns.
Pym is currently having small talk with a rather strange humanoid with kind of tubular ears and soft pale yellow skin.
Eli's looking for street food.
Actually, you see and you smell what appears to be a stall selling sandwiches. The meat seems similar to kebab or shawarma.
Is there anything crazier?
I mean, probably. I was describing what I thought would be the most appealing, but I'm certain that there is somebody selling large bugs to eat if you prefer.
Actually,
You're
what
gonna
you
get
see...
weird with it?
Okay, so what you... I've got one. So what you see at the far end of the stall is a large pot bubbling with what appears to be some green liquid. Bowls are strewn all about, and the fire appears to be tended by large arthropods, each with a little bit of an iridescent feather just basically taped to its head.
Does it smell good?
It smells chemical.
What kind of chemical?
Basically kind of like what would happen to a bioneural gel pack if you let it sit in the sun for too long, covered in mayonnaise.
I think I'm going to go with the same. I'm adventurous, but I'm not green chemical soup and mayonnaise adventurous.
You're not slurm venturous.
So you're actually headed back to the sandwich stall?
Yes.
Behind the stall is a orange squat alien with 4 legs and 3 arms. Between the 3 arms, he's doing several different things at once, including cooking meat, slicing meat, and it looks like checking the entries on a ledger. He looks up at your approach. "Ah, yes. Welcome to Blyla's Sandwiches. What do you need from Blyla?"
What's on the menu?
He names off several different types of meats and vegetables that you don't really recognize, although all of it looks fairly tasty and fairly simple. There are things that you would consider tomato analogs, some sort of leafy green vegetable, and the meat seems to be red meat of some sort that has been spiced and slow-cooked.
Alright, I just gotta check with my compatriots because they're holding the money right now, but definitely interested.
"Ah, yes. Lyle will be here when you wish to return, dear customer." He returns his attention to his work.
I'm gonna go get money for a sandwich now.
Speaking of money, Urton has apparently completed his sale to the weapon merchant and is carrying a large sack of currency of some sort. The only thing missing is the cartoon dollar sign on the bag.
Do you approach Ayrton and ask for money?
Hey.
"Oh, hi, Captain Eli.
How's it going?
Pretty good. They hadn't seen any magnetic pistols in a long time. We got a lot of blue coin from that."
That's the currency here, right?
"Well, one of them. There's a lot of currencies on Trident. What's accepted and what has value depends on the region. Although there are definitely a few that are useful, well, if not worldwide, about as close as possible."
Does the sandwich shop take them? Because I'm a bit peckish.
"Oh yeah, Blyle takes blue coin. A sandwich sounds good. Let's go get a sandwich."
Let's go get a sandwich up. Anyone else want to come?
Urton just looks around for volunteers from the group. Pym is presumably still talking to whoever he's talking to.
Daniel, try a sandwich?
Daniel has wandered off.
Of course he has.
When you look over at where Daniel should be, there is only a blinking, dotted line outline of his shape, and the space within is empty.
Does Chorog want to try the sandwich and compare it to his own culinary preferences?
Yeah, Charles definitely have to try something new.
Alright, and we brought Setsa with us too, right?
Yeah, Setsa's with you. She's being good and quiet.
Sandwich?
Average.
Kind of sandwich.
I don't know. Let's find out. Alien sandwich.
I am suspicious of sandwich.
Well, you can scan it to make sure we don't die.
Urton just does a slow blink of all four eyes and looks at Setsa and says, "Do you not have sandwiches where you come from?"
I just don't get along with most of them.
Wow, that sounds like a terrible existence.
Do you not get along with hot dogs too?
Well, hot dogs are great.
Hot dogs are technically a sandwich.
Oh, I'm not getting involved in that one. And Urton just runs off toward the sandwich stand.
Eli follows.
Some arguments are universal.
Urton rolls up to the sandwich stand and just says, "Hi, Blyla. Could I have my usual, please? Oh, and they're with me, so they're gonna get some stuff, too." And he just kind of moves off to the side as Blyleg just kind of nods, then with, 3 different hands starts assembling a sandwich very quickly. The sandwich he's assembling for Urton appears to be this sort of roasted kebab meat on some sort of relatively plain-looking bread, leafy green vegetables, tomato analog, what could or could not be onions or cabbage, you're not sure, and then a couple different sauces spread across the top of the sandwich before closing it and passing it to Urton.
I will have the same, but do you have anything that's, I'm trying to, out of character, how would you describe horseradish? Like, the taste of that?
Spicy?
Spicy. Spicy, but it's like a different kind of spicy, I feel like there's a word for it.
Blyleg uses his center
Zesty.
arm to stroke his chin for a minute and says, "I think what you mean, I know what you mean. You mean spicy, but not like hot spicy, right?"
Yes.
Right. I think we have that. And he basically creates a mirror image to Urton's sandwich, except takes a different sauce this time, which appears to be sort of a pale orange with swirls of pink in it, and uses that across the top of the bread before closing it up and passing it to Eli. He then looks to Chorog and Setsa.
Setsa is currently hiding behind Chorog, uncertain about this new development of strange orange swirls.
Oh, no, the swirls were pink. The sauce was orange.
Charles looking over the various meats and said, "You have anything that isn't dead?"
No. And he gestures over, "But the butcher is that way, and he might."
Thank you. Charles turns and goes looking for the butcher.
Lyle watches him go with a slight look of confusion, shrugs, and then looks to Setsa.
Can I have something boring?
Okay.
Like, the bread looks fine. Like, this, okay, just nothing too adventurous. I'm very timid when it comes to sandwiches.
He uses his right arm to scratch his head as his other 2 arms assemble a sandwich of bread. It looks like some sort of plain and not very spiced meat. It looks almost processed, and then a slice of some sort of cheese analog goes on top, and then he just puts the top piece of bread on it and slides it towards Setsa with kind of a strange look on his face.
Setsa is wary of the sandwich at first. She kind of just gives it a sniff, then a slight nibble, and he shrugs and takes a full
essentially
bite.
A bologna sandwich.
He takes a full bite of the bologna sandwich.
Meanwhile, Urton is chomping away on his sandwich and has counted out several coins and slid them towards Lyle, and just kind of looks back at Eli and goes, "Does Chorog know he's going to need money?"
We'll follow him. Thank you for the sandwich, Eli says before taking a bite.
You bite into the sandwich, and it is amazing. It is quite possibly one of the best things you have ever tasted. A slight sense of crunch, wonderful spiced meat, the tang and spiciness and slight bitterness of the sauce, and the bread is so soft and warm.
Setsa looks up at Eli while holding her bologna sandwich.
My God. restaurants. The best thing I've ever had, I think.
Lele smiles and says, "Ah, yes, good. Repeat business."
Eli keeps eating. Well, let's go find Chorog.
Burton by now has finished off his sandwich and kind of leads the way towards the butcher shop, just kind of waddling along. It's not all that far. The butcher shop is slightly off the main trader's area and facing away from most of the other stalls. Every once in a while, there's a horrible noise from inside. Sometimes it's a screech, sometimes it's some sort of clucking, occasionally it's vaguely pig-like.
Chorog has found his way to the butcher and is perusing the different freshly butchered meats and other what he guesses is food.
None of it is strictly familiar to you, although it does fit into the sort of categories that you would expect. There's bird-like poultry, there's red meat, there's white meat, and there also appears to be insect meat. Must have been one hell of a big bug. Also, there we go. We lost Daniel for a second.
Yeah, sorry. Something went weird with my audio. I had to. Everyone was quieter than they were before. I think someone came home and my phone connected to the Bluetooth in the car or something.
Weird. Anyway, there's various different types of meat there. There doesn't seem to be anything approaching a vegetable or fruit, since clearly this is a butcher shop.
Chorog manages to get the butcher's attention.
It's a massive red alien covered in scales who is about as wide as he is tall, wearing a bloody apron, and he just kind of stomps over and says, "What you want?"
I'll take one of those green insectoid legs. I'll take one of those poultry things, and you happen to have any, game animal legs?
He packs up the insect leg and the poultry, and then he just strokes his chin. Game, like hunt. Moment. You see him walk through a curtain into the back. You hear a fuck and a horrible wail, and then more thucks. And after a few minutes, he walks back out, holding what appears to be perhaps a skinned deer leg or something similar, and says, "Leg want?"
Yeah, that's it. That's what I want.
Good. He moves over and kind of wraps that up on some paper as well. Need more?
No, I think that'll do it.
Burton just kind of seems if it was possible for something with white fur to go pale, he's a little pale. But when the alien quotes a price, Burton just moves up and puts the coins on the counter, makes no effort to reach for the packages, and just steps back looking at Chorog.
What? Meat's meat and a man's gotta eat. Chorog nods to the butcher and collects his packages and finds a nearby table.
It's a butcher shop, so there aren't any. There are some tables back out at the trading square, not far away, though. Most people don't buy and eat directly in the butcher shop.
Chorog goes back to the trading area. He finds a relatively empty table and sets down his lunch. Opens the insectoid leg and smells and looks at it. It's green and it's got a oddly bright pink center.
Crunchy on the outside, soft on the inside.
Chorog just takes a big bite out of it. Crunchy.
Eli sits at the table. Most people usually cook their meat.
Burton just kind of nods and says, "Yeah."
Setsa raises a hand.
Yes, Setsa?
Yeah, cooking would probably be good. We don't know what kind of parasites Trident has. Might be intelligent.
Do you think this is going to stop Chorog?
I mean, no, we just want to make sure that if his voice changes suddenly, we consider all possibilities.
Burton at this point just kind of shivers slightly and says, "I'm gonna go find Pim. You have a good conversation." And he just kind of waddles off.
Chorog is eating this insect leg like it's an ear of corn.
I was going to ask, can I use my empath ability to try to get what Burton's feeling?
He just does not want to be involved in a conversation like this. He's a little uncomfortable with someone basically eating raw meat in front of him, and you know what? He's just gonna go.
No, that's fair.
Before, his lunch rises back up. Oh,
So-
he also wasn't all that crazy about, talk of parasites, especially intelligent ones.
So how's the sandwich, Etza?
Which is good. Like, the bread's really, nice and crunchy, and the meat's nice, and, it's got a little bit of a zest to it, and a little bit of flavor. I like it.
Empath. She's lying.
She.
I was going to say no, but I mean, that's your empath feel, so let's go for it.
I gave her a bologna sandwich. There's no way she feels that strongly positive about any of it.
You can feel strongly about, simple food done right.
Strongly neutral.
Okay.
I retract that. Setsa feels however she feels. I'm just weirded out now, personally.
Setsa is impressed by her bologna sandwich.
O'Connor kind of staring at him. He's like, "You want to try some? It's got kind of a nutty flavor."
Maybe. I do like to partake in the tartare from time to time, but I do like to smoke my meat over a campfire.
I'll save you some.
Thank you.
Trog puts down a little bit of the leg of the insectoid leg that's left, and he picks up the game animal leg that's still rather bloody.
Some distance away, it looks like Urton has stopped trying to find Pym and has found Friend and Grawl. He starts dancing with them.
Yay, dance party!
Anyway, you have the leg of some sort of wild animal. It is bloody, and still ever so slightly warm.
Trog takes a bite out of it, pulls out a small micro torch out of his coat pocket, heats the meat up just a little bit, and pulls a small bottle of Grappak sauce out of his pocket. And
Setsa's busy with a tricorder and says,
that looks like some kind of vertebrate, but I'm reading it as some kind of mollusk. I kind of wonder how many legs this thing had.
Mollusk.
Trog slightly warms the meat to
enhance the flavor.
It'd be like rare consistency, and he rubs a little bit of the Grappak sauce on and takes another bite. Oh, now this is good.
Ooh,
this is like
I'll let you try some of my sandwich.
This reminds me of Lega Linkta. This is good.
Yeah, cut off a piece. I'll let you try my sandwich.
Trog pulls out his Doctog and slices off a bit of the leg and puts it in front of O'Connor.
Eli
Setsa
knows
is-
it and offers a sandwich in return.
I have no idea to describe things to Eli. You heard my description to Eli of his sandwich. Assuming Chorog likes any of the sort of stuff that Eli likes, he would find it equally ecstatic.
Chorog takes a bite out of the sandwich. Oh, it's got some heat. I like that.
I did my best to try to explain horseradish, and I am satisfied.
Oh, you've not had horseradish until you've had Klingon horseradish.
I have had Klingon horseradish. It's the best.
Never mind heart.
Setsa standing nearby, looking like she wants to raise her hand, but is not raising her hand.
Chorog goes back to gnawing on his prey animal. He's holding it by what appears to be its leg, or its hoof area, and is just going to town on it like it's a big old ham.
Reminds me of going to a Renaissance fair and getting a pig and mutton.
At this point,
Mutton.
Urton has finished his dancing, waddled over to Pym, exchanged a few words with Pym and his friend, and now just kind of waddles over to Rick Tier and says, "Hey, is there anything you need in, trading area? I got money."
Not really. I mean, I'm more interested in sort of looking at the gate, but I really wanted to.
Don't worry, we'll probably have to get a closer look at that gate. We don't know where your friends are yet. Speaking of, do you have, a description or something?
Of Daniel?
No. Actually, he looks around for a minute and says, "Okay, maybe him too, but he wasn't the one we came into town looking for."
Oh, right, yes.
Your captain!
So I just had a brain fart.
You're fine. I just laugh at the fact that Urton looked around and said, "Oh yeah, maybe him too."
Yeah, and Rick T will actually, he's got his own pad, obviously, so he brings up the images of Captain Graves, and do you happen to, we probably need some paper or something. we're not really going to really want to spread too much of our technology around.
From one of his pockets on the jumpsuit that Urton is wearing, he pulls out what appears to be a spiral-bound notebook and a pencil.
And Rick Tier will use the official, pictures of both Captain Graves and Setzer to do some fine art drawing.
Urton just watches him and says, "Oh, you're way better at this than me. I'm glad you're doing it." And from Rick, let's just get a control con.
Okay, con isn't the best, but control is pretty good. Check what my stats are again. Yeah, so that's a 12. So 1 success.
You manage a respectable drawing. It's definitely Graves and Kara, although it's probably not museum quality. Yep, that'll do. Tim just kind of tears off the sheet of paper with the drawings on it, gives Rick a little salute, and then turns around and waddles his way back to where Pim and his friend are.
And while Pim's doing that, Rick is actually sort of looking around, seeing if he can see Daniel.
We all wonder, where has Daniel wandered off to?
A very good question.
Might I have a suggestion for where Daniel has wandered off to?
I think that's a resounding yes in the silence.
Yeah, no, I didn't have anything in mind. So.
All right, so for what you found is that conspicuously, there's two major buildings in the rest of the town area. There's a lot of small residential huts, maybe some bits of fishing industry, but the sort of the two major buildings are sort of this long wooden longhouse, as well as like a double helical, basically crescendo on top of it kind of looks like a bit of a cathedral. More temple. It's kind of hard to pin down. It's very ornate, very nicely crafted, and has just a big open door. So if you're considering the sky, look at the double helical spiral, look down, eyes follow to the door, and hey, door.
Daniel enters through the doorway. What lies beyond he knows not yet.
So it takes your eyes a few moments to adjust, but what you see is basically this large cavernous interior with a few alcoves with some stairwells leading down throughout each one. They're kind of oriented with the cardinal direction, so you can pretty much tell one's north, one's south, and the other is on the western side of the building as you're coming on from the east. The center is, you can't quite make it out yet. Some things are there, it's just difficult to make out in the gloom. But, you do see some robed figures, some miscellaneous travelers with large packs, and, just a variety of different humanoid species in here. Who do you look for in this setting? For more innate people? More traveler people? Or do you go expect the strange weirdness at the center?
Or being Daniel with a habit of walking off without, thinking, you'd go to the stairwells.
I was just about to say.
Oh, God.
I was just about to say, after observing the room for a few moments, Daniel silently heads towards whatever stairwell draws his attention in the moment.
So you start proceeding down the stairs. It's just a winding stone passageway with some strange blue illumination along it. A few bits of strip lighting, a few bits of small little recessed alcoves with some fine crystalline artwork embedded at the back. But you eventually come down to the base of the stairwell into, what basically looks like a large archive. You see racks and racks and racks of books, scrolls, possibly some datapad-like structures, some crystal cylinders. It's a little difficult to make out what kind of medium they could be, but you basically found yourself in the library of the temple.
Huh. Is there anyone down here, at a desk or something?
No, but there is a hooded figure browsing one of the shelves nearby.
Daniel approaches the figure, lifts up the visor on his helmet, and asks, "What would you recommend?"
The figure turns, presenting, rather blank face, blank of feature, and very deep, black eyes that simply do not reflect any light. He says simply, I recommend that you seek guidance, traveler.
Well, I have been pretty distracted since we got here.
Actually, with that, I'm getting some messages, and it's also getting towards 9:30. Let's go ahead and take a brio break and leave the guidance line as the last bit here. Because after we get back, I do want to do a scene with the Marcus crew, and I don't know if we're actually going to have time for that otherwise.
Okay.
It's hard to cut that off, but yeah, just realizing the time here.
No, that's fine.
I'm a BRB. I really gotta use that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go grab dinner.
All right, let's cut over to this basically other side. We cut to basically the small little alpine hamlet of Vorti, nicely snowed in by fresh snowfall, and yeah, the traveler house there is bustling to a degree. The various people who have taken up residency for the winter, basically waiting for some nicer temperatures, but also enjoying the local hospitality and its unique delights, are basically just, occupying the bar area and accompanying seating lounges, while Kara has been taken up to rest by Bosho. Graves, however, is over at the bar, where he is enjoying a drink, enjoying his basically meager little spending money on getting a few refreshments. He looks over to the man standing next to him and says, hey, what's your tale? The man is, incidentally, wearing a kind of a blue and green robe set, a large straw hat, couple of swords, with quite a collection of tales behind him. This person is a Kitsune.
Hold on.
Right, just a sec. Yep, and yeah, the individual definitely also has a couple of ears sticking out from the top of the hat as well, and two nicely cut out ear holes.
I don't get your meaning.
Where do you come from?
Don't really tell anyone that.
All right, well,
People like to keep their privacy.
yeah, I can understand that. For what it's worth, he takes a minute. I'm Marcus.
Ryuji.
Reggie, yeah, it's a pleasure. Buy you something to drink?
Anything but the beer. Tastes like piss here.
All right, let's see what else is on the menu. Let's see. Ambrosia sounds interesting.
Mikan turns and says, that's well, it's, I guess you could say, a house special around here. You can get it elsewhere, but I wouldn't bother.
All right, let's go ahead and have a couple mugs of that.
He's a first timer.
Mikan just kind of smiles at Ryuji, and then just kind of turns and pulls up two, crude sort of wooden mugs and puts them under a cask and tilts out what appears to be sort of a deep brown, kind of creamy liquid into both of the mugs, and then sets them down in front of them. Enjoy. The first time is well, you'll see.
Brave shrugs and takes a swig of ambrosia. You will need to roll for this.
Okay, well, roll first then.
Okay, so I'm going to do this as fitness command. 1 success.
The world around you kind of hazes and seems to sort of fade out a bit. The drink that you have just downed part of is creamy and chocolatey and reminds you a bit of hot cocoa, except that there's more to it. A bit of spice, just a hint of bitterness behind part of it, and you feel warm. So very warm and comfortable and relaxed. And what were you doing?
God damn, this hits. I'm not gonna be able to navigate subspace with this, am I?
Oh, I don't think you'll be able to make it out the door if you finish that.
Sounds like a challenge to me. Alright, another swig. Yeah. Need this after hell of a day.
Winter does not exist anymore. There is only comfort and warmth.
Satsu would get a kick out of this. She really would. Damn, gonna have to note down the location of this place, find a way back.
Mikan just kind of has this smirking grin that he gives over at Ryuji before turning back to the rest of his work.
Ryuji
Right.
drinks it like it's nothing. Like it's water, even, just staring at Graves.
Graves looks to Ryuji and says, I can see you've probably had this a lot. Or stronger stuff, anyway. Anything we can find to celebrate? Any good news?
Surprisingly, while Marcus feels tipsy, he's not that drunk. Instead, there's just a lot of other, apparently, shall we say, mind-altering effects to it.
Graves resists the temptation to hug Ryuji.
Probably good.
You're not gonna roll for it?
You said so. Your successes, he does not hug Ryuji.
You think about it, those tails look really soft. But then you remember what he said about privacy.
And also the fact that he's got a couple of swords on him, so probably not a good idea.
Personal space enforced with a meter of steel.
Right, so Ryuji, ever come across I don't know, pirates here? Like guys with metal and frills and big dudes.
Sounds familiar.
Right, so I might have run into them. Got away. Found a whole bunch more that were just kind of piling out of a hole. Shot up the hole. I think they didn't follow us. Hopefully. He kind of hesitates for a moment. You guys, use gateways around here, right?
Others do. I walk.
Oh, gotcha. Probably would too if I was here long term.
It's nice
So,
to be in tune with nature. He sounds very angry as he says it, but that just seems to be his general demeanor.
Graves says, alright, so, what are you doing in a place like this? I mean, as far as you can say, per privacy, yada yada.
Looking for work.
What kind of work?
Look at what I carry and ask yourself that question again.
I mean, you're walking around the wilds, you might be gardening, but, I didn't want to make presumptions.
When he mentions the idea of Ryuji gardening, Mikan just suppresses a snort and kind of very, very difficultly suppresses a laugh.
And at the same time, Ryuji sheds a tear thinking of his garden back home.
Alright, Graves says, alright, so, I got a little bit of coin, got a little bit of extra tech around me, and, got a big warrior tardigrade named Bosho. I'd be interested in,
as soon as the name is said, Mikan just says, owes me 5 batwa!
I think we already settled that, didn't we? Can't remember. 5 minutes ago was a long time. Looks at the drink.
You sure he didn't come in here already intoxicated?
It's a long day. And his head twitches a little bit. And as that happens, he kind of takes a more relaxed stance and says, alright, so, so looking for a little bit of action, looking for a little bit of work. I think we might be able to find you something. So, right now we got a little bit of salvage, but can offer a little bit more, especially from salvage from the people we fight.
Don't have much use for salvage.
Much use for, you got currency that falls from that, but what about challenging glory? It sounds like we got some big pirate bands after us, and we might have pissed off the caretaker of Trident.
How about this? When this is all said and done, you buy me 3 sacks of rice and a big jar of wine.
Mate, that's all? And Ryuji, we get you a little bit more than that, but along those lines. 4 or 5 sacks. A little bit more wine. Certainly, not load you down too much, though.
At this point, Mikan does turn around, taps Graves on the shoulder to get his attention, and leans in close and says, if you make an enemy of Arun, I forget about 5 batwa, and you forget you know me.
Graves nods and says, alright, suit yourself, but I've handled worse. Graves kind of blinks at that and kind of looks back and says, alright, so, Ryuji, we've got a room upstairs, so I'm gonna probably head up there, take a little bit of a rest, and, feel free to join us up there if you need a place to just relax a little bit out of the main commotion here.
Well, he says, taking his drink and also taking Graves's, because he's just assuming Graves isn't going to finish it.
Nope.
Graves is not capable of finishing it. Graves has forgotten he had a drink.
Indeed.
Let's head up then. You need someone to carry you?
No, legs are good. He kind of
stands
slaps
up.
his legs.
This is a monster of a man. He's 6'7".
Graves
Also-
is 6'4".
Graves, fitness command.
Woo! Rolling all great fitness rolls tonight, and fitness isn't great. One success.
You are wobbly and bow-legged, but you have reached a state of verticality.
All right. Yeah, enough. Onward. He points.
Ryuji shrugs and follows along, downing the drinks. Like I said, he is 6'7". He is very, very bulky. He's wide. He's muscly. Not like fat, but like muscly.
And he's not quite as bulky as the butcher, who literally was as wide as he was tall.
Now, Graves and Ryuji manage to get upstairs, and Graves, after a couple of experiments, finds the correct room where Bosho and Kara are at.
The room is dominated by two things: a large, low fireplace that takes up most of one wall, and a large bed heaped up with large amounts of furs and blankets on it. Bosho sits on a stool. Kara doesn't seem to be anywhere to be found.
Graves looks down at the bed. Kara, you in there? Alright, good. Kara, this is Ryuji. You don't necessarily have to get up. He's tall, he's blonde, and he's got, how many tails? Hard to count. 5 tails. 5 tails.
Graves is pretty sure he saw 6 or 7, but hey, 5 works.
I mean, he may have seen 4 arms too, but that's just Graves' mental state.
A metal hand kind of rises out of the pile of furs, gives a half-hearted wave, and sinks back down below.
Alright, we just got the one bed. I'll take a floor and a pillow.
Bosho looks at him and then at the stone floor and says, "You sleep on floor. You may not wake up."
So I sleep in bed?
Yes.
The one bed.
Yes. It's large.
Graves looks down. Bosho's saying I should go in there. Alright, if I kick you getting in, apologies. So, he takes off his Starfleet uniform. Well, to the extent of he takes off his jacket, so he's just down to his pants and a t-shirt underneath. With just it's simple black with just a Starfleet logo on it, and just takes off his shoes and just gingerly tries to get in bed, while also partially intoxicated.
If Kara's in there, you don't find her.
Graves nods her. Alright. Ryuji, I might fall asleep here, but feel free to use the facilities here. And maybe get some extra beds or something.
Bosho looks up. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you first.
Bosho looks over and holds up his sword. Spar?
Maybe later.
Okay. He puts the sword back down and goes back to what he is doing, which appears to be knitting.
He's knitting a small hat.
Offers Graves mug of ambrosia.
Oh, thank you. The tardigrade gets up, walks over on 4 legs, picks it up, downs it, passes it back and says, "Not as good as last season."
I know. Really missing something.
He nods and goes and sits back down, knitting.
Graves
sits on the floor and uses his hat to cover his face. Better than under a tree.
Time passes.
In music from Final Fantasy. Morning comes. Thankfully, Bosho, who either doesn't need to sleep or doesn't care that he needs to sleep, has been awake since early morning, and the fire is large and roaring, keeping the room relatively warm.
Graves blinks, rubs his forehead, kind of forgets where he is, yawns, stretches, notices the fur. Bits of last night start coming into focus. Bits of their adventure come into focus. And he's like, Kara?
Bosho just looks over in his confusion and says, "Ah, ambrosia."
Yes, ambrosia. I think it was involved last night or something called ambrosia. It was a drink, right?
I was going to suggest the wine, but you just went for it.
Yeah, fool me. Ugh, damn.
There's something heavy on Graves' chest.
Graves looks down.
It's Kara's head in one of her arms. She's clearly asleep.
He's blushing a little bit, kind of thinking like, is this bad? I don't know if it's bad. And it's mainly in the context of, will Setsa get angry at me?
Osho, not understanding, just kind of looks back between him and Ryuji and back to Graves and just says, breakfast?
Yeah, breakfast. And he starts, like, trying to, like, scoot out from under Kara.
This actually is going to take another fitness roll, fitness security.
All right. Graves, well, you're doing good with 12 tonight, so let's see. No, sorry, wrong target. There we go, 1 success.
I'm going to take the first roll for 2 successes because you rolled a 10 and a 6. It is difficult. Kara is heavy. Despite her small size, she is now made up of a great deal more metal than she used to be, and it takes a reasonable amount of effort for Graves to lift her arm off of himself and scooch out.
Damn it. Yeah, they really did a number on you. You awake yet?
A slight snore is your only response.
Right. All right. Graves kind of swings his legs out of bed. All right. To breakfast. Let's see.
Osho walks over to the nightstand where there is a small bowl of water, apparently for washing your hands. Picks it up, walks over to Kara, dribbles a little on her. There is flailing and an awake Ibby.
Graves, he's kind of still leaning away from her. He's like, you're awake. And for Kara, I want you to do an insight science roll. Or insight engineering.
Okay. Let me bring up my sheet. I didn't actually expect I would have to roll this evening.
You thought?
1 success.
1 success. Well, it's kind of weird in the light, but the Graves is sort of rubbing the back of his neck where his sets of granted implants are, and I mean, they're looking pretty clean, maybe even a little bit blue.
Kara Haas, you might not want to pick at that.
What? He taps his implant.
Was that always blue?
What's blue?
The thing on your neck.
No?
Right, okay. She just kind of swings her legs out from bed and yawns and stands up and says, I don't like it here. I'll be honest.
I mean, they did replace your body, quite a bit of it, but, yeah, we're working on this.
Right. Anyway, just as well I went to bed early last night. The aliens around here are way too cute. They remind me of my dog. I'm gonna think of that.
Ryuji looks over, he's got a bowl of rice, just raising an eyebrow.
None of that. I wonder who's feeding Nala these days. Smash cut to 10 forward on the Reliant, which we call Club 42. The door opens and a small Alaskan Kleekite trots through the door, jumps up onto one of the bar stools, rests her forepaws on the bar, and looks at Grimnir. Grimnir turns around, notices Nala, nods solemnly, goes to the replicator, pulls out a steak, sets it on a plate in front of Nala. I'll put it on your tab. Cut back to Kara.
Graves. So, how much of a recap do you need? Remember everything from yesterday?
Yeah, we got kidnapped. We're in a strange place. We got busted out by that tardigrade there. Thank you, by the way.
All right. And
now we're in a snowy place, and you weren't cold last night. And now your implant is a weird color. You sure you're okay?
I mean, I'm feeling really good.
All right. Anyway, I feel more rested now. You can tell some of the color has returned to her as well.
All right, you're looking a little bit better. So yeah, this is Ryuji. Kind of brought him on as a little bit of extra muscle considering what we were up against, and it comes the question of.
At this point, this is when she notices that Ryuji is there, considering how quiet it is. She starts and says, "Fuck me, you're quiet."
I'm eating.
Well, you eat quietly. She's not really sure what to do with that statement in response to hers, but that's what she comes up with.
Ryuji? Kara? Kara, Ryuji. Had some introductions last night, but I'm not sure how you can actually see each other now. So, at any rate, though, yeah. So, should we stay here? Find some way of trying to make some communication. Kind of don't know where we are, apart from Strange Alien Planet.
Well, they swiped our comm badges. I don't know. How good are you at rewiring, like, I don't know, a pad or something?
Graves, he was about to say I'm not particularly good at it. I was like, I might be able to give it a shot.
Tell you what, let's go downstairs. I think I heard the word breakfast. We'll deal with that. And if you can try to get any range out of the pad, maybe we can use it to send a ping or something.
Yeah, maybe. Graves nods and, basically heads to the door to go get breakfast. Before we close out for the night, though, do want to cut back over to Chorog and Eli. Didn't have their little picnic. A little bit of time has passed.
After that, I'm kind of thirsty. Is there a pub around here?
I don't know, but I'm a bit thirsty as well. I can go for beer or something.
A passing insectoid alien looks at them and just kind of goes, "Beers? You seek traveler hall. Good alcohol, yes."
Where is it? Which way?
The alien points with a foreleg similar to that of a mantis. It looks like it's across the way from the traders area, maybe, 300 feet away, just off the normal trading avenue.
Does it look like the insect leg that Chorog was?
No, it does
Okay,
not.
good.
That would classify that the butcher as feral, so that it's definitely not anything human.
Just want to be sure. You can never be too careful.
Repeat after me. Friends, not food.
Friends are food.
Boy. Anyway, for alcohol, you have been directed to the Traveler's Hall, which is not all that far away. It is the other large building of Cerrit Run.
A third.
Well,
It is a third large building.
Well, you know what? Let's head over.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a short walk.
don't
Other
think
members of
we
the
need
crew besides Daniel are free to sort of follow along with them as they leave the main market area and head towards, kind of the first big building of the residential block, which is, just an ornate traveler house. Some swirling decorations carved into the stone facade and a large open doorway beyond which you can smell, something nice cooking, hear the sound of laughter and just general conversation, and kind of the general aura of a good time being had.
It would remind you of a Wild West saloon, except that when you walk through the door, people don't stop and stare at you. Instead, they just go about doing what they were doing anyway, ignoring you.
Well, shall we belly up to the bar and see what they have?
That I think we shall.
Tim's already at the, it's not so much of a bar, but basically this long series of kegs where you're basically free to help yourself. Pim is kind of gazing at one thoughtfully and looks over and says, "Oh, right, cool, you got over here. That's good. That's good. Kind of worried you might wind up in the ditch, but yeah, good. Doing good for a first-timer."
What's the strongest thing they have?
Let's see. Far down the line, stone square barrel thing. People have died as a result of it, so, it's strong, but I wouldn't recommend it, because I'm pretty sure it's not for the right biochemistry. In a few years since it's been tapped too, so.
From right for the barrel.
There is actually a very strong smell of ammonia and chemicals from the barrel. You're not sure this is alcohol. When Pim mentioned this might not be for your biochemistry, he was not kidding.
Frog smells it like, whatever they brewed this thing in, they need to clean it. But that doesn't stop Trog from taking a wooden tankard and filling it up anyway.
Okay. You have, as far as you can tell, a mug full of cleaning fluid.
Oh, it's green. Smells... Oh, it smells green. Bottoms up.
It smells like a war crime.
Go.
Trog proceeds to chug it.
Let's get a fitness command roll from Chorog.
I'm spending 4 threat.
You have essentially just chugged a mug of ammonia.
It might work for Gnostic biochemistry, but yep, one success, one complication. The moment it touches your mouth, you immediately just herk it up. It is just, oh man, I mean, you just feel it throughout your entire body. It's just like, I do not want, like, your body is just instinctively getting a do not want vibe out of it.
And if you're wondering what the success it was, the success is that you're not permanently sickened.
Yes, you have suffered no lasting damage.
Eli looks to him and is like, he's got to learn these things on his own. Don't worry, I'm a doctor.
Yeah, don't worry. I've been there, done that myself. No, none of this stuff in particular. I mean, I know the limit. But, I mean, the second one over there, that's probably more your speed.
Frog stands up after perking up everything in his stomach and it's proceeding to eat a hole in the floor. Okay, that wasn't a good idea. I need something. What's the next less strongest?
He said it was
All right.
one.
Yep, that one. It's it's a homebrew, but yeah, I know the guy. He's ancient, lives out by the coast, and yeah, he does some good stuff. I mean, ferments this, that, combines it with just a little bit of chemicals he knows. But yeah, it's good stuff.
While all this is going on, after Trog is hurled, a wooden ladle seems to come out of nowhere and smack him on the head to get his attention. When he turns, it appears to be a slightly taller version of Urton. It is another all-white Yizzle alien with all green eyes. She scowls at him and says, "That wasn't smart, boy. Here." She holds out a mug of something brown and creamy to him.
Frog stands after getting hit in the head. Okay, someone's tired of breathing.
Chorog, no.
No, Chorog, you'd lose that one too.
That's
sure.
an order.
A few other people do actually look over at interest. When Chorog mentions that he would fight a Yizzle, people also back away from the area when he mentions that. But she's still holding out the mug to him. Here, drink this, you'll feel better.
What is it?
It's ambrosia.
Bottoms up. Chorog chugs it.
Considering what you just drank a second ago, you are not all right with the world, but this does soothe your stomach greatly and put you in better spirits after, well, attempting to drink cleaning fluid.
And making a rather large hole in the floor.
Yeah, Pim's gonna have to pay her for that.
Eli asked him, so what's the pay? How do we pay here? Is he self-serve?
Well, I mean, within limits, it's on the house. The traveler houses, they're funded by, local, tribes, city councils, that type of thing. It's part of the hospitality listed in the histories. You call it cultural. Yeah, we take care of those who are just, first-timers, off-world, coming in, and, just those, seeing the sights and, kind of living on with a caretaker's will, they say.
At this point, the Yizzle kind of walks over and looks at Eli and says, "I'm Yemma, by the way, the Hall Mother. And with this one," she eyes up Pim, "mind you listen to everything he says very carefully. And then flip a coin, and if it comes up tails, do the exact opposite of what he said."
That's basically how I've been handling it.
You're starting so good there. I'll take it, though.
I'm Captain Eli O'Connor. Or Doctor, you could use either one.
"Pleasure." She gives a slight bow to him.
Eli gives a slight bow back. I'm sorry about him, by the way. He's a little trigger-happy.
I've had to replace that board more times than I can count. Doesn't matter what warning sign I put up. Somebody walks in, thinks they've got the biggest quad around, and they're gonna drink it.
I mean, you could also, just throw it down in a hole leading to the underworld.
What would I clean my floors with after that?
All right.
I'm looking for something that's not too bitter. I don't like bitter alcohol all too much.
Well, I would offer you some of the house special, but I just gave away the last bit of ambrosia to an idiot. She looks over and kind of scowls in Chorog's direction.
Chorog finishes drinking and returns the scowl. Give me more.
Ain't no more. That was it.
What else you got?
At that point, she starts walking down the line of kegs, giving names and descriptions. And when she comes to the end,
leading odds on the biggest races.
And this one is cleaning fluid, not alcohol. No matter what that idiot, and she points at Pim, says,
Eli has grabbed a mug of something that's probably to his taste on this tour.
there's probably something enjoyable in this bar. It seems like most of the surfaces are simply made of kegs with boards stacked on them.
Jorg pulls a bottle of his venom out of his coat pocket. What do you got that tastes like this?
She takes the preferred flask, knocks back a shot, smacks her lips a couple times and says, well, I would say the cleaning fluid, but you tried that already. She moves over to another keg and fills up a glass mug with something red and bubbly and holds it out to him. This, I think, is about as close as we've got.
Jorg takes a quick drag of the tankard. Hey, this ain't half bad.
She nods. Yeah, it's made down in Megora. The Ushtvash make it. I would say that use it in religious ceremonies, but for the Ushtvash, any drinking is a religious ceremony.
Eli grabs a mug of it so he could try it as well as he's got the other one. He's just got 2 mugs now. The old Irish
If an Ushtvash drink doesn't cause you to see the face of your god, I mean, it's not really the great stuff.
Jorg polishes out the tankard. More.
He gets more. As for Dr. O'Connor, when you taste it, it is fruity, but also strangely spicy, and it burns so bad. And the second it hits your stomach, you feel fucking drunk.
I love this. This is great. It's like cinnamony, kind of, but not cinnamony.
So far, Jorg isn't really feeling anything. Slams that tankard. More.
I was about to say, Yema just shrugs and gives him another one.
He's got a... Maybe don't give him everything. He'll drink the entire barrel if you let him. As you've seen.
Yeah, well, I don't think that this would be as fatal as the cleaning fluid, so it's a good way to learn.
Jorg gets about halfway through this tankard and he takes half a step back and like, ooh. And
now
tries to sit down and tries to take a seat on someone.
There's a hey!
This is good.
And now I shall do the most classic thing of any tabletop RPG. I'm going to ask the barkeep for rumors.
Well, I guess the biggest rumor lately is that big shot harvester Dro going around saying he's gonna take Trident and bring it back to the universe and all this kind of high-sounding bullshit. Oddswell, if you ask me. I don't think anybody could change Trident.
Have you heard of, I'm trying to word, basically we're looking for friends. They were taken and now we chased here looking for them.
At some point, Eli has been given the sketches and holds them up.
Yes.
She looks at it and says, no, I haven't. I reckon, though, that you probably want to go to a big city when you're looking for folks like that. The 2 best ones I could mention are probably Haven or Megora, but it's about a month until the gate goes to either of those. She stops. On the other hand, it's only about a day until the gate goes to Vorti. And from Vorti, I think it's about another 2 days before the gate goes to Haven.
Could you point these all out on a map? Just, he says, offering a pad with the map of what they've scanned.
The barkeep draws a picture of one arch pointing to another arch, then pointing to a small little drawing of a city, and just labels each one.
She puts some times down as well, and then she draws a much larger city with another arch, and draws arrows between that and the smaller one, and writes times. And she just looks at him and says, got no idea how far it is, I just take the gate.
Just the general location of this should work very well. Although I will see how this whole gate thing works, I suppose. Easier than just the other way.
She shrugs. North, I think. Then east, maybe. This does not sound like reliable information.
You've already marked it on the map, that's good enough.
You realize that what she has actually drawn on the map is simply 3 towns with arrows between them in no particular order.
Well, do you mind if we put these posters up here just in case anything happens?
Posters? You have 1 sketch.
Yeah, we could copy them. replicate them into posters. Come on, we could do that.
You could also post photos if you're going to use the Reliant.
Yeah, we could. Okay, let's post photos.
You get sent down a very nice wanted poster. Missing persons. Information, contact on frequency, etc.
There we go.
The only picture of Graves that looked somewhat jovial, you had to Photoshop a birthday hat off of, as it was taken during John's last birthday party.
No, birthday hat stays on.
Okay.
Well, takes a minute to center himself now that he's grown a little bit more accustomed to the viscous red fluid.
More, dearie?
I've had enough for now. But, sir, I'm thinking maybe we should tell Grawl about this religious sect that brews this substance. Maybe we can get more information about the planet.
I'm surprised Squirrel didn't follow us, or Daniel. Daniel's still missing.
When
Daniel's probably off staring at a tree somewhere.
When Chorog mentions that he's had enough, Yenma cackles.
Rick isn't there either, by the way.
He's not here either.
What about Setsa?
Setsa, where are you? Did you follow too?
Are we the only ones that came here?
Is
Yenma-
Setsa here?
Yenma, and just kind of the silence just says, well, the green one was here before you, and you seem to know him.
All right. Here we go gather the rest of your crew. Hope they haven't found any too exotic delights here.
Oh, gods. If they're newcomers, they might be badgering one of the witnesses. Better check there, Pim.
Yeah, maybe.
Witnesses?
Yeah, these little rigid fellows. Wear these dark robes, got, really, dark eyes, and,
Oh, it's a
yeah.
title. I thought, somebody that actually witnessed something. Okay.
Well, they witness the entire world. That's why we call them witnesses. They're kind of have a deeper connection to Trident than most folks. But yeah, I don't know if I believe them when they say they speak for Arun. But yeah, that's kind of the air they go with.
Let's go find everyone, Chorog, starting with Setsa, because she's probably the closest. How did we lose her after sandwiches?
I think she kind of got sick watching me eat.
And as they head for the door and out back into Cerrit Run, I believe that is where we will call it for the evening.